Definitely. So what was maybe like the biggest struggle you came across with your first property?
Okay, so with my first property, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't a very hard thing. It
Oh,
wasn't very
really?
wasn't I didn't come up with like, I mean, I have had guests that are like, rude and rowdy and stuff, but just the startup process itself, I move quickly. Like I move quickly. So I didn't have any like hiccups. I knew, like, I planned everything out before I started. I said
Hmm.
I just step one, raise the money. I knew that was the first one. Gotta get the money. Okay. Got the money. Step
How we get
two.
the money? We using cash, we using credit, let's
So
business, personal?
my very first property, I did use cash.
Oh,
I
really?
did use
Okay.
cash. Yeah, I did use cash mixed with credit. So I do have about a good collection of credit cards. And I liquidated about like maybe three of my credit cards, which probably were about maybe $4,000. I liquidated those three, and then the rest was cash. So I spent about, I want to say about $8,000 in my first unit. So four of it was about credit, like my personal credit that I was able to liquidate off my credit cards, and then four of it was cash. Um, do you want me to break down like the detail of
Let's
what
break
was
it down
getting
for the
what?
people. Let's break it
Okay,
down for the people. Yeah, yeah,
so my first unit is actually in Jersey City. It's in Jersey City,
yeah.
New Jersey. And that unit was 1780, I believe, when I first got it. It's the rent has risen. That's why I say when I first got it, and that was only about
Okay,
ago. The rent has risen,
yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because I also did a short term lease, so a lot of the time when you do so this is the thing too. You do have two options of doing it. Doing your lease, and a lot of people are going to tell you, don't take the personal route, don't take the personal route. No, 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 bad girl, bad girl. My opinion on it is, if it's the only route you can take, and because the thing is, they don't tell you it's about the corporate route, is it requires documentation. If you're just starting out, you can't just get an LLC today and get an apartment tomorrow, you know?
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so my very first unit I did get in my personal name. And that unit, like I said, was 1780 to start. Because it was in my personal name, I didn't have to do all of the corporate fees, because when you do a corporate lease, you do have corporate fees. My last two properties are under my corporate lease, so
Gotcha.
it was a much more annoying process. That's
Yeah,
why I said my first property was a breeze.
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
breeze.
Yeah.
Um, so my other two are under corporate, so there were more corporate fees and stuff.
Mm.
But with my first property, the rent was about 1780. My security deposit was very low. A lot of the time, when you apply to luxury units and you have good credit, you don't have to pay like a security and a half deposit of rent. I don't know if that's for everywhere, but even in New Jersey, like I said, I live in Charlotte now. My apartment here was the same thing. If you
Mm.
have good credit, you only required to put down about $700 to $1,000, no matter what the rent is. If the rent is $5,000, you're still only required to put down $500 to $1,000 if you have a decent credit score. So with my unit, I had a decent credit score. So
What's a decent credit score?
I would say 650 or higher.
Okay, 650 higher.
I've asked them that too. Like, what is that? I told you, I ask questions. I always ask
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah.
When Why I'm able to give actual genuine responses and answers, because I'm not thinking it. Like,
Yeah,
650. That's
yeah,
they
yeah,
told
yeah,
me, 650 or
yeah.
higher is a decent credit score.
Okay.
And if you're applying to like most likely buildings and stuff like that, or apartment luxury complexes, you only required to put down $700 to $1,000. Best credit 700. Lower it goes $1,000. So for my first unit, I only had to put down $700, like the holding fee. So
Hmm.
700, 1780, that secured my unit.
Okay.
That's unit. Then from there, it was decorations. That's where I spent most of the money on, and that was very foolish of me. I learned in my second and third property, but I spent a lot on furniture and designing the unit how I wanted it. I ordered everything off of Amazon.
Hmm.
Um, and honestly, that's where like most of the money went to. But that was pretty much it. Then my light bill, I didn't have to pay until the very next month, so that was deducted those fees. So, I didn't really spend a lot getting that unit up. My second and third unit that I did under a corporate lease, those were a little bit more expensive to get up.
Mm.
Those were a little bit more expensive to get up because when we get into those corporate leases.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
So the thing with the corporate leases is, for one, when you get a corporate lease, in the lease, it states that you're not going to be the one staying in the apartment. So
Hmm.
automatically it makes you a liability.
Mm.
So now that you're a liability, you automatically have to put more money down on the apartment for the
That
security
makes sense.
deposit. Pull
Yeah.
$720 out the window. Now you're a liability to the apartment. You actually have to put down about 1.5 times whatever the rent is for the security deposit.
Oh, damn.
So first unit was about, I mean, my second unit, the rent on that unit was 20. $2,425, and that was a studio. It was like a loft studio, so it had the downstairs, and then there was some spiral stairs that go up to the upstairs, and it's the
Oh,
room.
okay, nice.
Yeah, it's nice and fancy. It's cute. So
Yeah,
$400,
yeah.
$2,400, and then I had to put down 1.5 times the rent,
Damn.
which was about like $1,450. So I put that down. And then honestly, that second unit I think was the most expensive to get up. But the cool thing about my second unit was I was able to get business funding for that unit.
Mm.
Um, I applied and I was able to get $50,000 in business funding actually. So that funded my second and third unit.
Okay, was this PG or no PG?
I say PG. I
Okay,
say PG. I definitely say
okay.
PG. And honestly, in my experience, a lot of I mean, you have loans that are no PG, but a lot of the loans, when you're talking big money and trying to apply for a lot of money, they want to check your credit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
Credit. So yeah, definitely. And I've gotten some loans like 5,000 no PG, but when big loans, they want to check your credit. They got to see
Yeah,
what you do on your personal side. So it was PG.
yeah.
But the cool thing was I was very strategic about the loan. Because one, it was a short loan. It was a short loan. A lot of like business loans, they're very short. So this one was it wasn't a bank loan either. So it was a short loan as far as like weekly payments.
Mm.
So I was thinking about it like how, because once you get the loan, ain't waiting for you to get your Airbnb unit up.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
money
yeah. They
back.
want their money. Yeah.
Imagine, I think on a $50,000 loan, my loan payments were almost like $2,000 a week.
Mm.
So I'm like, money has to be flowing in.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took the loan and I estimated about exactly how much I wanted to spend on each unit. Once I decided, because there was no early prepayment like penalties or anything like that if you prepay the loan earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided exactly how much I wanted to spend on the units. I told myself I was gonna spend $24,000 between both units. I ended up spending about like 30, but whatever I did, and I made sure that I did not touch the money.
Gotcha.
Like, it's very important when you take on these big loans, you're strategic on what you're doing with the money, because yes, it sounds good, $50,000, but like I said, within the first week, they're calling for their money. And it was ACA, a direct deposit, automatic payment withdrawal.
Oh, yeah.
So that adds up quickly every week if you're not having money coming in replacing those funds, right?
Yeah,
And
facts.
it takes a good 2 weeks to get your unit together between signing the papers, getting the furniture and all that. So that first 2 weeks is kind of not even counting for it. That's just money that you're just kind of giving back to them. So what I did was so once I got the loan, I took the half that I wasn't gonna spend. I knew that I wasn't gonna spend. I was like, I'm not gonna spend this whole 50. I'm gonna take about maybe 30 or so. And my reason for even, because some people ask, why did you take the whole 50 if you knew you weren't gonna use the whole 50? But business relationships are important. I took $50,000 from them. I paid them back $50,000, and I go to get another loan. They're going to automatically be willing to give me maybe 75, 100.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So
Yeah.
that's why I
Yeah.
took the whole. For those who probably are wondering, like, oh, so with the other money that I did not use, I kept in a savings account, and while the unit was getting up, I let that money that I wasn't touching just go, and I made sure I was like 2 weeks. That's it, 2 weeks, and I got the
Mm-hmm.
units done, both of them in 1 week, and
Mm.
one. And once I spent all I needed to spend, I paid the money back. That money that I had in the savings. And I'm telling you, you have to be disciplined, because most people
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Most people, well, you gave it back, yes, but it's all about bigger dreams, bigger goals. Like, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? That's 50, but I want to go back for 75. I want to build a great relationship with them. So once I gave them back that money, I only had to work down the money that I actually spent,
Yeah.
which was about 28,000, I believe I actually spent, and I paid them that back within the first 2.5, 3 months on with you having the units on Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
and I paid that back. Now all the money I'm making back is pretty much profit. It's just profit. I didn't have to spend my own money out of pocket necessarily to do this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was able to scale so quickly, because I got my first unit, like I said, in March. The other two I got in May, both of them same month, May.
Okay. Well, how about the third one?
So the first one was in February, and then the next two were both in May.
Oh, both were in May. Okay, okay,
I
okay.
signed at least 3 days apart.
Oh, okay, okay. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, you was going crazy for
I
sure.
had the money. I was like, look, I got the money and I gotta go. I knew
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
fast,
Yeah,
because
no,
like I said,
definitely.
that money, they was calling every week coming out of my account. I was like, I
Definitely.
gotta go. So I put
Definitely.
my mind to it, and I'm like, I gotta do this. I found my 2 units. They accepted the corporate leases. They were good. I was like, okay, this is what I gotta do. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and the cool thing was they were actually 3 minutes apart.
Oh, wow.
They were 3 minutes apart. So I would be driving from one property down to the other one, putting couches
Yeah.
there, meeting the cable guy up here. Like it was a crazy
Yeah.
week. It was a crazy week, but it was very thriving for me. I was like, yes, I run off of adrenaline, so
Yeah.
it was amazing. And when they were both done and I was making the money from it, I was just ecstatic. So
Okay, dope. Hey man, you said 5 years. We gotta thank your boyfriend for telling you to, you know what I'm
I know,
saying?
right? I said 5 years, and
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
and my baby, she was only a couple months, and I'm doing it, so
Oh
I
wow.
was like
Okay.
working.
Yeah.
She was
Okay.
at the properties with us in her stroller. I'm putting stuff
Oh
together.
man. Oh
Yeah.
man. That's crazy. No, that's definitely amazing. So obviously, you got into it, you saw someone in your hometown doing it. Would
hmm
you say like was that the main reason why you got into it, or where else would you see yourself leveraging your credit?
Um, well, the thing is, my personal credit, I wouldn't even have thought that big with even at the time, because the thing is with personal credit and business credit, it's two different time spans.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been building my business for 2.5 years, and I was able to qualify for that loan. I don't even know if I could be now qualify for $50,000 personal loan. Who knows? I haven't tried. But the thing with personal credit, time is acquired.
Of course.
Above all things, people don't understand is you kind of got to let your credit marinate in order to
Yeah.
kind of see credible. And I'm 23, so in the eyes of credit, I haven't been building credit very long.
Yeah.
So for me, as of right now, I wasn't even thinking about like leveraging my personal credit. Like I knew I had my credit cards, and that did honestly help me with my very first unit. But
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even thinking as big as no $50,000, $20,000. So not even I wasn't thinking that. So business credit, I think once I started building business credit is when I started to really think about the things I could do with that money,
Mm-hmm.
because I learned about business credit, and I learned how fast you can build business credit. And it really is just about building your business credit up and making sure you have some funding coming through your business bank accounts. They're gonna qualify you for whatever. And then
Definitely.
and also most of those banks and people who lend out big money, they only look for you to really have your business established for at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So opposed to like a personal credit, they're gonna want me to have at least a good amount of years built
Yeah.
in before I'm qualifying for any big loans.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
when I started to learn about business credit, I knew, okay, this is where the money is at, because I could get this quickly and a lot of it, and you know what I'm saying, and I can go back for more. And it's just like, so once I started to learn about business credit, that's when I was like, okay, this is what I can leverage. Like this is what I'll be able to invest in and things like that. And I wasn't thinking about using my business credit until I got into the Airbnb industry, only because
So,
I didn't know what I was doing in life. Like I didn't know that I was going to end up wanting to do Airbnb or whatever.
yeah.
I just knew that building business credit was a good thing, and I would have money if I'm there, if I'm ready for it, I'm ready to go get it. I'm more than likely going to be eligible to get it because I've been building my business for a good amount of time. I have money, cash flow flowing through my business account, so I knew when I would want to, the money would be there for me to be eligible to qualify for. So, I mean, before Airbnb, I don't think I was even thinking about using it or to do anything, but I knew I wanted to do something.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, so I mean you stepped into the Airbnb space you didn't expect to, but you in the game, you documented your journey, all of
Yes.
that. What would you say, or what piece of advice would you have for somebody that they got their personal credit right? Maybe they built their business credit as well. They're like, okay, I'm trying to get into Airbnb.
Start. 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 Because that's the
Yeah.
real thing. Like,
Yeah, no, I feel it.
we could break it down. We could break it down. Just what you
Yeah,
gotta do. Save the money, then decide what kind of lease you want to do. Once you get the lease, boom, get the furniture, do this. Like, I could break it down,
yeah,
and you won't start. You could
yeah,
have the 10 grand sitting in your account right now. You won't start.
fact,
It relies on you. You have to be the one to say, okay, I want to do this. And
fact.
it's all about the risk in life. Like no risk, no reward. And that's one thing I've learned. All the greatest accomplishments I've made have been based off of me being scared, or me being nervous, or me like not thinking it's gonna work. Those have been the greatest accomplishments that I've ever achieved. The
Mhm.
ones that I was just like so hesitant on. So I would say just start. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you have the personal credit built, you have the business credit built. First of all, decide where you want to take your funding from. I would always recommend somebody take from their business funding rather than personal, because
Mhm.
you're gonna get more. And the less stuff you have on your personal credit, good. The less stuff you have, the better. Use that business funding for what it is. And take out your business loan. You have your money established. Now go and get your lease. Go get your corporate lease. Go get your lease and start your process on. Just start.
I love that you said start, because a lot of times when I'm talking on a podcast, I'm giving them game. When I say something like start, they think I'm being mean or something. Like if I say something so straightforward, you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
You know,
no, definitely,
that's
I love
what my
that piece of
clients,
advice.
when they call me, I'll be like, you either gonna love me or hate me at the end of this call, because I'm gonna be
Yeah,
that person. Like everybody, especially in 2022, everybody is so I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
yeah,
You gotta give it to people raw. Sometimes you gotta give it to them
exactly,
raw, real, because all that
exactly,
tiptoeing nowhere is not gonna
exactly.
get them anywhere. But in the same predicament, because they're telling you, oh, don't do it yet. Maybe wait until, or be soft. No, guys, start.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be successful, stop listening to what anybody else is saying, because it ain't them, it's you. You want to be successful,
Definitely,
take that first leap. Take a leap of faith on yourself, and you will be surprised where it takes you. You know what I'm
definitely.
saying?
Yeah,
So I definitely start.
definitely, definitely.